Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa, and today is a WuJu Wednesday. It's a late night WuJu Wednesday, so you know what that means. My buddy Public is on the other side of this. Give us a like and share this video. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back, Public. What a face. Oh my goodness. What is
that's
that?
My mug, my Jersey mug.
That's your Jersey mug. Oh my
Jersey
gosh.
mug.
That's scary. That keep you out of prison, I guess. I don't know. Or is that what that's the look when they arrest you? That's what they send home.
Do you think everybody in New Jersey gets arrested? Is that what this is?
Only when you make a face like
Jersey?
that. Only when you make a face like that.
That's
no, I
funny.
love New Jersey.
New Jersey is all that we've got the best pizza in the world. We've got the best bagels in the world. We've got two of the beaches.
I've never had a Jersey bagel. I have had pizza.
You can only get it from North Jersey. South Jersey and Central Jersey, if that really exists or not, it's not the same.
It's not that big to have North, South, and Central Jersey. That's funny to me.
Those are fighting words. Sorry.
It's not very big.
Those are fighting words. Those are fighting words. There's North Jersey, which is the cool part. There's South Jersey, which is like the Pine Barrens and the people who speak like they're from like Virginia and North Carolina. And then there's like Central Jersey, which is like a place that some people in New Jersey don't even think exists. Basically, there's this big bridge when you're on the Parkway, which is like the only road to go down that way in.
Yes.
So there's this big bridge, and when you go over the bridge, that's the crossing from North Jersey into South Jersey.
Okay. And when you're on top of the bridge, that is the Central Jersey.
That is, yes, that's a good thing. That small span of bridge. It's actually huge, but that small span of bridge, that's Central Jersey.
Is the Central Jersey. Okay. Now we know.
And did you know also New Jersey has the one beach in the continental United States voted the best beach in the country.
Oh, really?
New Jersey has gorgeous beaches, honestly. Gorgeous beaches. You would never know you're in New Jersey. See, you've never been to the good part of Jersey.
Gorgeous beaches and crappy weather.
Crappy weather?
Yeah, isn't it cold there all the time?
No, you just complained it was too hot here last time. What is it down 105 down by you right now? Over by you right now?
Over by me right now? No, it was 60 yesterday or day before, but it was only in the 40s today.
Yeah, I think we had about 70. So no, high 60s yesterday. Okay, the weather's been really weird lately. I mean, not like I've been outside. I've been doing landscaping for 29 years, almost 30 years. Mm-hmm. And the weather patterns we're seeing now are just not the same at all. I was telling my dad that the other day, there's this spot on this one highway where for 20 years driving to work, I go over this hill, and right when you get to the top of the hill at drive to work time, which was like 6:45 a.m., the sun would hit you in the face. Everybody would slow down. You'd see everybody all around you put their shade down all at the same time. Now the sun is like, instead of being in your eyes, it's like way over there. It's like it's not in the same space. It's a new thing. It's a very weird thing. It's like not a little bit off. It's like that. It's like way off from where it used to be for decades.
That's weird.
It's very weird. There's no excuse for it.
Well, that could be those, they've been talking about how the poles flipping or whatever.
True.
That would change the location of where the sun would be.
Yeah, it's far though. I mean, something has definitely changed because the sun is not only, the rising and the setting are still the same as I always remember, but the location is just totally off. When I moved into this apartment, the sun would set and it would light this room up, this living room up so bright for the last 45 minutes. Now you can't even see the sunset anymore.
That's so weird.
And that's only 3 years. It's very weird. I mean, the building didn't move. Maybe it did. I don't know.
that you know of.
I don't
Yeah.
think so. It's a really
No,
big
that's
building.
really strange.
Yeah.
So I put as our little hashtags to just topics of discussion today. It is Pearl Harbor Day, remembrance of Pearl Harbor Day. And I was on Coffee with Den this morning with Distant and John, and they were talking about Titanic and all this, and I was like, well, yeah, but they always do these movies and they talk about like what happened, but they don't talk about why it happened.
Mhm.
And so then they were like, well, what do you mean, Lisa? And I was like, well, because they were actually, the Titanic happened because to kill the people that were against the Fed getting started. The three guys, plus there were probably more people there as well, but and JP Morgan getting walked off of, or coordinating all that and all that stuff. Anyway, so then that led me down the rabbit hole of, well, today's Pearl Harbor Day. Are there any conspiracies around that? And today's a full moon as well. Jenny and Bix are going to be, Bix was on Monday with me. He came on, super great surprise. The girls weren't feeling great. And so he's like, oh, I'll go on with you. And so we got to talk some nitty gritty about some stuff. And he had some interesting information that then I followed up with some people. Because he really was like, oh, Dan Larimer, he's a bad guy,
Okay.
He's in with Block One and EOS and all those guys. And then I talked to someone else who is still connected with or has contact with Dan Larimer and said that he found out what was going on behind the scenes and got out of those connections. And that we will know about that stuff in the future. It will come out. It will be exposed. So Rice is in the chat and he says he's cooking dinner and getting over being sick. So get well, Rice. We need you well and in this fight with us for truth.
Indeed.
It looks like Nana's there too. So Nana can send you some virtual chicken soup.
We got Nana there. We got Mom there. We got Rice there. We got Jim. We got everybody. This is
lots of Mark Weems. Yeah, all the good souls there. Anyway, so I wanted to touch on some of those. I didn't know if you had heard of this theory about, for Pearl Harbor Day, this advanced knowledge conspiracy theory.
Not familiar with it. Do tell.
So, hold on a sec. Supposedly, there's various conspiracy theories that the government officials had advanced knowledge of Japan's December 7th, 1941 attack.
Oh, yeah, that I've heard. Absolutely. They had hours and hours and hours. They knew well ahead of time that this was going to happen. Okay.
So, but there has been debate as to the why and how the U.S. had been caught off guard and how much and when the American officials knew, blah, blah, blah. And so they go on to talk about non-interventionist America First Committee. I've never heard of this.
No.
But that's the first time I've seen the America First Committee. Oh, that's a separate tab.
Two different names, but
America First Committee is the foremost United States isolationist pressure group against American entry into World War II. It launched September 40th, and it surpassed 800,000 members in 445 chapters. At its peak, the America First Committee principally supported isolationism for its own sake, and its coalition included, hold on.
Supposedly they knew 6 hours ahead of time. I think I read that one time.
Okay, now I'm down on a different rabbit hole. I know I shouldn't do this to you guys. I'm sorry. But if you hear America First, who do we think of with America First?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how this happens in my brain as I go, wait, something leads me to one thing. And then I hear something and my gut or my truth radar goes off. And it's like, wait, go look at that. So if we think about, what do we hear all the time? That World War II never really ended. True. What is Mr. T talk about all the time. America first.
Well,
America
they
first.
say World
America
War
first.
One never really ended when Operation, was it Paperclip, and all the
I
Nazis
thought that was when
were
that was
hired.
after World War II, after the Operation Paperclip. Then all the Nazis were hired by NASA and all that. That was after World War II.
I thought the first start of it was after World War One, and they basically hired them all to come over here right after World War One. But I know there was some after later in World War II.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But you may be
shall look
correct.
into that.
We should look into it. We'll search it up here in a sec, as my son says. We don't say Google it anymore. We say search it up at our house.
Yeah.
And you can use pre-search and get different results. And there's a link for it in my description. Okay, so the America First Committee, what does this say? It was the foremost United States isolationist pressure group against American entry into World War II, launched September 1940. Okay, back to where it said the AFC principally supported isolationism for its own sake. So why can I not say that? Isolationism is a political philosophy advocating a national foreign policy that opposes involvement in the political affairs and especially the wars of other countries. Seems like a good idea. Thus, isolationism fundamentally advocates neutrality and opposes entanglement in military advances and mutual defense, something, but I won't click that because we'll go way down the other way. Okay, for its own sake. And its coalition included many Midwesterners, Republicans, conservatives, socialists, students, and leading industrialists. It was controversial for the anti-Semitic and pro-fascist views of its most prominent speakers. The America First was dissolved on December 11th. What day is today? December 7th, 1941. 4 days after the attack on Pearl Harbor brought the United States into war. So this is so tied with the Pearl Harbor thing. Now I got to go back to the Pearl Harbor thing. Okay.
I've never heard of that one before.
Yale talks about Henry Ford. Oh gosh, I've been seeing tons of Ford stuff. That's very interesting.
And we all know the secret clubs they have at Yale specifically, and famous people who've been to them or were members or are members.
Lindbergh. Okay. The group fervently opposed measures for the British advance by President Roosevelt as a destroyers for bases deal and the Lend-Lease bill, but failed in its effort to block them. Okay, I'll look into more of this later, but this is very interesting. Right issues. Whoa, wait a minute. Was that Kennedy?
Hey,
what did I just say? I just scan John F. Kennedy. I knew I saw his face. Okay, so another future president contributed $100 with a note. What you're doing is vital. Why $100? Maybe because it has something to do with the money and what's written on the money.
I don't know. A lot of money back then, that's for sure. Didn't always have that little blurb on the $100 bill. That's new.
That's true. That's only been since
2004.
Yeah, somewhere like that. Bix was talking about it on Monday.
Yeah, that was a good show.
Thank you. Okay, we'll get into this more later.
Make sure everybody likes and subscribes. Lisa's finally over 5,000 subscribers on channel number 3.
Even with all my, you guys, you made it through the cut of all the censorship. You guys are also very strong. So if you're part of this.
So do you think the censorship's slowing down yet or not? You think everybody's watching their backs now because of the Twitter files?
No.
No? You don't think that they're going to be next? Like my first thought.
I mean, maybe I'm just too numb by it.
This platform just had
but what happened?
A lot of people fired.
What happened because of the Twitter files?
What do you mean? Like not
what
that much
outcome?
yet, but we're
Yeah.
having constant. It's now admissible in court, and it can be entered as real evidence in court cases.
You think so? Okay.
Oh no, yeah, it
We'll
can.
see. I mean, there is a slow rollout. I know that, like, I guess it's so in our face because we're looking for it and looking at it every day. Like, my husband just came home he likes to go see his buddies at the car auction thing on Wednesday. So he went and saw his buddies, and they're all talking. And a bunch of them were like, "Oh, so you get caught up in that FTX thing? I heard about that. You lose, And he's like, that was like a month ago, dude. Like, today is December 7th.
Right.
That happened on November 11th. But the normies are just hearing about it a month later.
It's getting out. Normies have to hear something like that many times in order for it to start registering.
And that means it's just getting out to the normies in the news. And this was the other thing we were talking about, the repercussions financially to the reports and stuff, like the business entities, like Coinbase is just now. SL and I did a show for my Patreon group earlier today. So she gave some price predictions going into even 2026, some messages that she got from her guides and stuff. And we were talking about how, with the whole FTX thing and what's going on with that, and how so much of it was legacy financial institutions that were then invested. So, like, the U.S. government gave money to Ukraine, who bought FTX tokens, who gave it to who used it to wash to give to the politicians, basically. Anyway, and other things. And it's very messy, and there's lots of moving pieces. Lots of people are talking about it. I've been trying to read a couple different books on it. I've posted a couple of Whitney Webb's interviews. I was partway through volume 1, and then I started thinking, like, I need to just go ahead and hurry up and start on volume 2, because she goes back all the way to like World War I. And so I'm reading a lot of stuff that we know or we believe to have happened, which it is all tied together. But this is all kind of goes back to the military industrial complex, and how the government overreach and, the lack of oversight, and how our intelligence agencies have been weaponized against U.S. citizens and have been, using the dollar to. That's the biggest war that's been going on, all these years. Sure. So anyway, but it's going to take a little while for the things to come out. So anyway, we were talking about Circle, and I pulled up, that they were going to go public. But they just announced that they can't go public. Circle can't go public because they're anticipating a bankruptcy. Oh yeah. And that big lawsuit from that guy named Reggie Middleton. It's coming down on Coinbase, but so there's things like that happening that people are not even aware of. And then the normie investments that they are starting to talk about. There was one of them did mention, was it Bank of America? Bank of America and one other did say that because of their connections or investments in FTX, that they were going to have to hold off, or anticipating. Okay, Bank of America stock plunges. Okay, that wasn't the FTX one. Oh, it was the Winklevoss twins. They were saying that they are in hot water because they are owed over $900 million from a broker that lost a bunch in FTX. So there will be like a cascading effect of that.
So it's being painted as a really bad thing for all of cryptos. It has nothing, that people don't realize it's just like a bank failing.
Yes.
Like the money itself failing, but it's being painted That's why the normies are starting to hear about it now, because they're not going to invest in this crazy crypto stuff because you're going to lose all your money because it's worthless.
Because their money is what made it fail, because their money, they're like, somebody took some quote real money, I guess, and put it somewhere, and then they lent it out multiple times and passed. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was just a big Ponzi scheme, to be honest.
I'm surprised somebody like the Winklevoss twins would have somebody else, number one, handling their money in such a way. But number two, I mean, in what about investing in their own things? I don't get it. I
guess they're trying to, I don't know, share the. Let's see what it says. It says that they, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss are reportedly in the red, $900 million after FTX's monumental crash last month, which left more than 1 million other creditors. 1 million creditors, and that's 1 million individual. I would say people, but it's not people. It's like organizations, which each one of those could have 1 million people in them. Sure. So this is like exponentially going to take it all down.
It's a taste at what bank failure could look like in a different type of the banking system, right? What if
if it doesn't trigger it,
Citibank or Chase or TD Bank, you name it. And people are getting a taste now. I bet if let's say Citibank failed tomorrow and had all these big scandals going on behind it, and somebody absconded with $10 billion and didn't even get a slap on the wrist yet, and would they ditch the dollar, or would they just ditch the bank? Would they realize this is not a money problem, this is a entity who was shuffling your money around problem? And I use the term money loosely.
I don't know. Hold on. This is saying shock. Oh, look, a 17. The 1.7 billion of that sum is owed to Genesis, illustrating the firm's dire financial situation. What's the odds of that?
I would just think these big players would know better. Like, don't they do their own due diligence? Don't they? I mean, surely somebody investing $1 billion or just about $1 billion would do some homework on the company that they're investing in. Are they investing in there because they're part of that club, or are they just, here's $1 billion, just do what you want with it? I mean, if we could find this stuff on Twitter and social media so quickly and easily and readily, right. Why couldn't billionaires? Certainly that wasn't their only $1 billion. So don't they have some way of checking or verifying where they're putting their money into?
They should. And I would. When it all turns out to be, Tether is, they say Tether's the next thing, but actually Tether was a part of this. Sure. Because Tether backed Alameda. And so it's just all, I mean, literally, if you don't know what a Ponzi scheme is.
So Tether, you mean another type of stable coin is going to get its butt whooped and get put through the ringer?
Yeah. Did you not? Hold on. I'll play the video.
I never would have thought that.
Tether's part of this. Tether may have precipitated this. So that Tether is part of the EOS, Block One, Pedo Cabal guys. Brock Pierce, all those guys.
Breaking news, Darren Beatty, take a minute and explain this.
Too long for people with any sense to put together that FTX, given how politically protected Sam Bankman-Fried is basically a money laundering operation through the kind of Clinton overworld element of the Democrat machine, of the Democrat apparatus. And you've seen he's given tons of money to all kinds of Democrats, also to some Republicans, and that's an interesting story in and of itself, but you'll have to stay tuned because Revolver has a big piece on that. But that's been in the news and it's been saturated all over the place. But what we found, and it's the subject of the Revolver report, really the most jaw-dropping investigative piece that you'll ever see. So just go and look at it. If I'm wrong, don't listen to me again. But this makes FTX potentially look like child's play. And so what is Tether? Tether is the third largest cryptocurrency in existence. But unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are mined and produced according to a publicly known and verifiable procedure, Tether is what's known as a stable coin, meaning that the value of Tether is allegedly backed by US dollar reserves that the Tether organization carries. But here's the kicker. There's never been verification that they actually hold those reserves. Since the inception of this cryptocurrency, the third largest cryptocurrency in the world, and really the engine that drives the liquidity of the whole kind of cryptocurrency ecosystem and exchanges, it's predicated on the notion that there are US dollar reserves and it's never, ever been properly audited. Now, if that seems strange, it gets even stranger. Because you say, maybe it's never been audited because the people involved in it are just so upstanding and trustworthy and technologically sophisticated. Well, if you want the full rogues gallery of the people involved in the founding of Tether, read the whole piece, but I'll just give a little sample, a little teaser. One of the founders of Tether is a washed up kind of former child actor, Disney actor, Mighty Ducks star, incidentally, for if anyone wants some 90s nostalgia.
Look into
Mighty
the
Ducks
open
star,
secret
and he
or
starred
an
with
open
Sinbad
secret.
in a movie called First Kid. He went on to have a weird history. He was involved in some kind of sex scandal where he was arrested in Spain by Interpol, and allegedly there are all kinds of weird and creepy things found when he was arrested. And if you want the sordid details of that, again, go to the piece. But he was
about a hot tub.
Put in jail, never charged, nothing ever came of it. And then all of a sudden, this child actor embroiled in some kind of underage sex scandal, who was arrested but never charged with anything and has no technical background to speak of whatsoever, emerges as this cryptocurrency mogul behind the third largest cryptocurrency in the world, which is entirely predicated on the possession of US dollar reserves, which has never, ever, ever been audited. And if you think that's weird, it gets even weirder, because not only is this a bizarre story that it's never been audited, the Tether organization defies the US Treasury in all sorts of ways that are really bizarre and inexplicable. But here's the third dimension that really connects all the dots, in my opinion, and is the thesis of the piece. Tether happens to be, I'm not making this up, Tether happens to be the official cryptocurrency of the Rohingya rebel movement in Myanmar. Gee, isn't that interesting? This cryptocurrency with this weird history that's never been audited, that has no transparency, that's run by all these people who seem to be compromised in some kind of fashion, just happens to be the cryptocurrency of one of the major US-backed rebel groups geopolitically. And we learn further that Tether cryptocurrency is beloved by Sunni rebels in Syria. Exactly those kinds of Sunni rebels that may have been referenced in that now infamous Wikipedia leaked email with Hillary Clinton, where she admits Al-Qaeda is actually on our side in Syria. And that's not even to speak of all the weird stuff going on with drug cartels.
Hang over a second. Can you hang over through the next break?
Wait. Can you stop talking about that?
There's
also one more thing that he talks about.
on top of things. This is the Wall Street Journal. Things up. I got trust
Hold on,
me.
there's
He's
one
gonna
other part
speak
where he
at
links.
scammer, Sam Bankman-Fried. Alameda was one of the two principal backers of Tether. Interesting.
So I had it backwards. Alameda was a backer of Tether. That's the other significant piece. That's where the circle comes together. So Alameda helps create Tether, and this all goes round and round. And meanwhile, we've got one nation under blackmail. It's not just one nation, it's the whole world that's being,
Oh, sure.
you know.
So that's
And so I think this FTX is just the test run of what's going to go down and take it all down. And then when the Tether bubble bursts, that's when the banks go, and surely.
So how would that tie in for the newbies? How would a cryptocurrency going take down banks? Take down cryptos, take down exchanges, sure. Take down banks how? Start of the waterfall,
So
start of the
just
cascade.
the like if you look at the, I don't have the spreadsheet thing of, I don't know if I printed that out. Like the way they had the FTX thing set up was that FTX was there and people would come in and they would print out these FTT tokens. So like things like the Ontario teachers pension plan would go, you know what, we have this money from these teachers, our teachers pension, we need to invest it in something so that the teachers, when they all retire, can get their pension money. Their pension, they get their little statement and the pension made this much this year, whatever. They think that they have this retirement. And so they put their pensions in these different funds. BlackRock was something that was invested in FTX, a portion of BlackRock. Those kinds of things that people, the large investments were invested in FTX. If it goes away, then there's no one to chase down. It is the Bernie Madoff thing. You know, when the fat lady sings and there's no money to bring, you know, and the guy that is made, that was assigned to this to clean up this bankruptcy and make this thing whole, is the same guy that's handled like all of these old bankruptcies and somehow worked or was a Clinton attorney or something like this. I mean, it's just the whole thing is stinks.
So they send up the cleanup crew.
Yeah. It's just so crooked.
Yeah. It's funny that funny in a weird way that a cryptocurrency company, so to say, who can have everything on blockchain decides not to have anything on blockchain. And therefore they can't track the trail of where these funds went. I mean, certainly everybody knows you can follow cryptos through public websites and follow what addresses and wallets cryptos are sent to. So why can't they just follow some of that missing $10 billion and see what?
I think that's how they're using the banks, and that's how they're using these other funds, is because they're not just using cryptos. You think about like, well, this investment fund, and I'm totally not an investment advisor. This is just me speaking out of what I have no idea. I'm just going off the cuff. But if this fund is in dollars and it goes in and the fund is given FTT tokens or whatever, and then what do you do with your tokens? And, oh, well, they were also loaned out multiple times. These dollars were also loaned out and reinvested. It's the rehypothecation thing that's going on.
Which is the point of cryptos, to not have that. But
right.
Yeah.
But then there's also like, I think that's where like the dollar spend out has been, and they're talking about how, you know, the Ukraine thing was the wash, which I still can't believe. I sat there and watched this lady from Oklahoma, this congresswoman, that she was like, I don't know why everyone's so mad. I mean, yes, we're sending this money to Ukraine, but it's coming back to us in contracts and stuff. And I was like, what is she talking about?
Yeah, that's
but she knew it was coming back because the money, we're
Well,
sending
let me guess,
money
to
to
rebuild
Ukraine.
schools for the children,
Well,
right?
no, so
Yeah.
we were sending airplanes and then charging them for buying the airplanes or leasing the airplanes from them or whatever. It's the same thing that like Tyson has been doing to chicken farmers for years or whatever. Hey,
Right. And
you
let's
want to
not
raise
forget
chickens? You need
that
to go, mortgage your farm, and you're going to buy the house from me, and you're going to buy the food from me, and you're going to sell me the chickens, and then I'm going to tell you how much I'm going to pay you,
right.
and then my price of my feed just went up, and I don't like that house anymore. It's too run down. You got to build another one to keep doing that, and you still owe me money for the loan you took out to buy the last house. And
That's just a condensed version of regular American life. That's a condensed version of that. So then, let's not forget we all saw the picture, not a meme. I guess it would be a meme. We all saw the diagrams, the pictures online, how money went from the Fed. Yeah, let's start. So the crypto went from the Democratic National Committee to the Biden campaign to Biden gave it to the Ukraine.
Yes.
Ukraine took it and then invested it back, $30 billion of it back to the Democratic National Committee, back to Biden.
No. That's what they're saying, is that it goes into FTX to get washed.
Sure.
To send out to
30 billion of our dollars that we
Ukraine invests in FTX, right?
Yep. Yeah. So,
and then it goes back out and around.
Like again. we lose track of it now because it happens so often, and it's people don't really pay attention much anymore, and there's not announced all that often anymore. But 30 billion of all this aid to help the poor people of the Ukraine and rebuild schools and buy teddy bears for the children. 30 billion of it went right from the Ukraine, right to FTX, right from FTX to the Democratic National Committee, right from the Democratic National Committee to fund Biden, and then right back to the Ukraine.
But here's the thing, is that it's been doing that for years, and Whitney Webb explains this, that they've been doing that for years through different things, Iran Contra,
But not only that, too, just in regular business alone, right? Business, the government gives tax breaks to whatever company, number one, and then that company donates a whole bunch of money to this. Somehow, then the other Democratic National Committee gets a hold of a large portion of it. They fund the president or do favors.
But that ends up being like the personal slush fund for the Clintons. That's totally a different animal. Then
it's still going around and coming back right where it started from. It's washed.
Yeah.
The Clinton Foundation was just a big hundreds of millions of dollars of money just going out and coming right back to them.
Being reallocated to them. Yes. That's what they talk about. So it's crazy. Did you listen to Uncle Cliff's?
He had 2 of them today, right?
Videos today, or voice. Yeah. He was driving. He went into town. So he drove and did 2, one there and one back. So
happy birthday to Mrs. High, which was yesterday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Miss Kathy. That was pretty cool. Her 70th birthday. Yeah. And I loved that he said they stayed up a little too late, and he had trouble waking up this morning, but he had to get up to let the pups out. So that was cool.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that they're celebrating life and enjoying every moment. That's cool. And we are anticipating his high point of intention or intense whatever energy. I don't know I can't remember his wording.
Right.
That's coming up. What, the 11th or the 12th?
The 11th or the 12th. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a high emotional.
What did we just see was the 11th? America First that we just looked up is the 11th.
Okay. That could be.
The anniversary of the America First Committee is the 11th.
So there's supposed to be what is it? It was an emotional release or a building tension.
Yeah.
So he had this right. He said this months and months ago. We're going to get something big soon, early December-ish, and then it's going to level off, and then we're going to go up again big time in emotional tension. And emotional tension, emotional release, I forget his wording. And then it's just going to keep going up and up and up from there. So whatever's happened, I mean, could that be
as
FTX?
it's letting out?
Yeah.
Or
Could that
getting
be
more
FTX
information.
and then the Twitter files, something like that? I mean, these are big things. The Twitter files is going to prove to be something very, very big. I mean, you actually have the emails and the tweets of them doing treason, telling them how to manipulate information for the elect. That's straight up treason, and they have it, and we've all seen it at this point.
So here's the other thing. The Kim Clemente prophecy says the people will become one, and Il Donaldo Trumpe or Poppy Trumpy or whatever he is, he just tweeted out, "We are one," and a big flag, and he's standing there under the flag. And then if the 11th is America First Day anniversary, and these Twitter files, the other thing that Kim Clemente prophecy said was there will be a new Snowden.
Right.
If this Twitter files release is like the new Snowden, like we keep talking about the Hunter laptop and they keep saying it's coming out, but and it's kind of come out on the videos a little bit on Twitter, but the whole dirty ugliness of it has not come out on the Twitter files yet. And I think that's because they want to just start getting people to look at it, start like softly, and then, are they paying attention? If you dump too much information, people get lost and don't have time to look through it all, and they're never going to find it all. So you kind of have to do it in little breadcrumb bites, so that you'll keep their attention, and they'll keep looking, keep paying attention. Mom says the 13th through the 15th was the timing. So if we get the 13th through the 15th, that's interesting.
Yeah. So who knows what it's going to be? I mean, we could have guessed a million things. We never would have guessed FTX was going to go and cause all this stuff when we were going to learn all the information about how the money was cycled through, right? We never could have guessed that the Twitter files were going to come out and that he was going to actually do this. He might have said that he was going to do it a while back at some point, but I don't remember. I remember it being like people asking, hey, release this information now that you own the company, figure it out and show us. But we never would have thought it was going to happen. I don't know that we can really know. I mean, we never would have guessed any of these big things that have come out. And I say this because I've driven myself absolutely crazy trying to figure out what's coming next over the last few years, especially. And it's always just something that's like, man, I wouldn't have guessed that in a million years. It's almost like wherever we're led, steered one way or the other to see what's coming next. It's like it doesn't turn out to be. It's something different and bigger almost. But I do think these Twitter files are going to turn into something big. I read a few things on it that said it's now I forget the term they use exactly, a legal term they use exactly, meaning that it's now admissible in court. These are legal, not so much legal documents, but legally admissible documents into court. Because we never would have seen this. And for the last, since email was invented, we never saw these guys talking this way out in the open. We never had access to see these things, right?
Right.
I mean,
well, yeah. Even if we thought we didn't have proof or physical, the documents to back it up,
Right. We've heard things, but never had the documents. And now we do.
Mark Weems is right. It's when they were disbanded on the 11th, not when they were formed, but still the anniversary thing of the America First. I was just tying the date together.
Yeah.
But
hey.
So that will be very interesting.
What else you got? I mean, there's so much going on. we're seeing pushes on the great infection starting to come back now. We're seeing so much more information, government sources talking truth about that now than we ever have. We had the Fauci deposition not that long ago where he basically told the truth about everything that most of us already knew about all that. So the information is coming out there. Unfortunately, a lot of us, because of the last few years, we're numb to it. We're numb to, I mean, there's so much stuff coming out now. It's like, okay, so much stuff. Are we getting to a point? Did we have to get to this point now where there's so much information available at your fingertips from everybody always says sources. You say something, give me a source. Can I have a source? Well, now it's all the mainstream sources giving this information. Did we have to get to this point where we're just tired of hearing all this stuff?
And who trusts them now at this point? You know what I mean?
Right.
At this point, who would trust them?
So a lot do still, but
here's the We Are one. Remember Pearl Harbor Day from Il Donaldo Trumpo, which that seems like a pretty strong calm. The other thing that BRICS is trending, and that has to do with the President Xi meeting with Saudi Arabia, and observers expect discussions that will be held on pricing Middle Eastern oil in yuan, which, if implemented, would mark the beginning of the end of the petrodollar era.
Hasn't that happened already? Haven't they been buying yuan for a while?
So they have been. I don't know that they've been buying Middle Eastern oil. So I know Russia and China have been doing deals in yuan for oil. And possibly would that be doing the other way around too? No, in yuan. That was back, not this last. When did I go to Utah?
That's been going on for some time.
It would have been more than a year ago.
Right.
Yeah. And then, so anyway, but that was Russia and China. This is about Saudi Arabia, selling in yuan, with Xi. So
it's a matter of time.
Yeah. Then this says China has completed the construction of a gas pipeline connected to the power of Siberia gas line reaching Shanghai at present. And they reported, and then right when I was finding all those is when I found the one that I sent to you through DM.
It wouldn't show. Maybe it'll show for you.
Oh, no. Well, wait, it says tweet unavailable, but I think it was this one. Nope. It's totally taken out.
Yeah. What was it?
It's these Verver tools, but it's not that or that or that. It has nothing to do with ice makers. It was all pipes, and it showed an oil filter machine, and then it showed holding back crowds, like those things like at the movie theater, the things that make you stand in line.
Okay.
And then it had one for shipping pipes on pontoons or something. There's always like 4 of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, now it's deleted and gone, of course.
Yeah, it was gone. I checked it 5 minutes after you sent it, and it was gone already.
I should have screenshotted it.
I wonder why that would disappear. That's odd.
Because.
That fast.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances? It's almost weird, right? You send something, and within 3 minutes, it's deleted.
And now, look, it says they haven't posted since whatever this is. This is some Chinese, or no, that's Mexican or Spanish. Mexican, my gosh. That's Spanish.
Yeah.
November 7th. And then before that, they hadn't posted since July 29th.
Delete the tweet.
That's so weird.
It is weird.
Anyway.
Who would have known?
Okay, so here, but it still kind of says the words of what I free shipping up to 50% off more than 30 categories and 1 million different products. In addition, Verver has an after sales team that's always on standby. So somebody's on standby, bringing you an enjoyable shopping experience. 1-year warranty, 30-day free returns. I don't know. I would think it has to do with standby.
Okay.
And then when you go there, there's a 5x5. When you go there, see the 5x5. And maybe that's a date, 22, or I don't know if that's this year. 5x5, it's over. Iced by 22. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's over. Yeah. My favorite psychic
other pictures
is saying there's a lot going to happen the end of this month or in January sometime, as far as reset, as far as money, as far as reevaluation of foreign currencies, gold standards, that sort of thing. There's supposed to be some big things.
So my lieutenant governor posted the other day, hashtag gold standard, because he, I guess, went to University of Oral Roberts, and they have the big golden hands outside the college in Tulsa. I don't know if you guys know about in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all that kind of stuff. It's a Christian college, but they have these big golden hands on the college campus. And so he posted something, and he and the governor of Oklahoma both follow me, and he's messaged me, or I've messaged him, and then he's responded to me a couple of times about things. And then then when he posted hashtag gold standard, and I said, you don't say, and he liked my comment. And so I kind of think I think it's interesting. I really like Bix's thought about gold being our money, because there's so much of it. So silver becomes really valuable because silver is going to be used in tech and all this kind of stuff. So we probably, like, there'll be a time where we might use our silver for the coins that we have printed already or whatever, but then we start using gold, or we have gold backed. Like he said, gold is held somewhere with a QR on it, and it's all validated, and then you use Veritasium to,
I was just going to say, a la Reggie Middleton, sure.
Right, in portions of it or whatever. So he was explaining it. And then remember the last Christmas, we were looking at, they posted the beginning that they had never showed when Trump was in office, of the beginning of the Christmas decoration video. So when Trump was in office, they did a Christmas decoration video. Then the year after, when he's out, they show the beginning of that video that starts with a star. And I should go get my star.
A big silver star.
No, it had a gold. Oh, no, it was a gold star.
It was a silver star with the
No, it was a gold star. Was the coin gold too? Or the coin? No, the coin was a $50. JFK.
$50, right.
Yeah, Kennedy $50. And then Melania put out for this year, for the Be Best foster care support organization, just this really beautiful gold star that she designed. And I bought one of those to support foster care and her work and all that. And so I thought, okay, is that a sign? I'm trying to think what day I got that on. I don't remember now, but anyway, it was delivered and I got just the star. And so could our coins be, instead of being minted in silver, could they be being minted in gold? And those are going to be what's held then in a treasury that has been, will the people demand an audit the way they should have years ago?
We had Ron Paul demanding an audit of the Fed for 20 years.
But will all the people? Like, will we have a scene like
See,
Brazil?
I have a theory about that. I have a theory about how long this changeover is going to take. It's going to take at least a generation. At least a generation for where.
But when did it start?
As far as?
When does the generation start? Are we the generation?
No, it's going to take.
Was my mother the generation?
From when this big push? So let's say right now, you and I and our friends and our people here in the chat, we start saying, you got to audit the Fed, you got to audit the Fed, you got to audit the Fed, you got to do this, you got to do this. People don't know. People don't understand.
But like you said, they've been doing it for 20 years. So why is that not count as part of the generation?
Because enough people weren't awake to it yet. Even when enough people are awake to start getting momentum on it, you're still going to have, I kind of equate it to cell phones, much like cryptos. It's going to take a full generation, I feel, minimum, to where enough people know how to use, send, store, do things the right way with cryptos so that it'll become more mainstream. Just like cell phones.
So I don't think so, because I think the two things are separate. I think that the demand for an audit, when people lose their money, when they have to bail in and they lose, and however this goes down, and they lose their pensions and they lose their money.
Losing their pensions for decades. People
whatever
bailing in banks for
they haven't bailed in. The banks have gotten a bailout.
That's what I mean.
And people have gotten, not done well and whatever. A bail-in will enrage them.
Did anything change in Greece and the countries over there where they did bail-ins yet? No.
I don't know.
No, nothing's changed over there. Enough people don't understand how.
But they also don't have the kind of freedom that we have here.
Well, they still have the ability to stand up. I don't know about you. I see a lot more protests going on in Europe than I see going on around here. I see streets flooded with hundreds of thousands of people protesting things in Europe. I don't see it. You don't see that here, ever, never. Mm-hmm. You see a bunch of hoodlums burning down banks and police stations. That's what you see. A few hundred. Mm-hmm. That's what you see. We don't see enough yet. See. The point about that is that, like cell phones, right? My father still has a cell phone. He just got his first smartphone not that long ago. He doesn't get apps.
But he probably also kept a regular phone in his house for a long time too. Like there will be a transition. For people that are slow to transition will always be slow to transition.
But that transition
doesn't stop
a long time.
The forward front of things to happen.
Sure. There will be some people, just like now, there's a lot of people. I mean, you and I both know a lot of people who transact in cryptos, who save cryptos, who use the blockchain, who can buy things with cryptos and everything. But there's a lot more people that don't. And my analogy with the cell phones is like my father. He just got his first smartphone not that long ago. He really doesn't know how to go to the app store and get things. He could certainly never use online banking. He would certainly never use automatic bill pay with his cell phones or anything like that. Just because you have it, it's kind of forced upon you to use it. So people will use their magic debit card. Maybe it'll be your real ID or something else that's tied more to you.
Use it.
But you'll still be swiping. Yes, they'll be using cryptos. But it'll still. But I mean, what's different from the
digital ledger? Yeah,
right.
CBDC will be the digital ledger. Same thing. Yeah, the difference is that when cell phone adoption required a physical device being distributed, crypto does not require that. It's software and technology, and as it advances and as things become easier as they're advancing, it's right there. It's in our hand already, because most people do have a device or access to a device. So it's not going to be like, oh, well, because getting cell phones distributed to everyone is part of the slowdown or whatever.
Sure. But, most people have the cell phones, but are they going to be storing Bitcoin with it and using different wallets to pay for their groceries that week? I just think that's a long, long way off still. I don't think such a change can happen so fast without some transitionary stage that will last a lengthy amount of time. You can't force somebody to learn these things, especially when they know nothing about it.
You can in a painful society, and that is what happens. And when people
it still takes time. It'll still take two decades to where people are switched over to using this because they have to or not.
It won't. Think of how quickly did people figure it out, how to sign up for their COVID reimbursement, whatever crap.
Sure.
People that had never been online before, they called their little granddaughter or grandson. They got their buddy. Oh, wait, how'd you get your check? How'd you do this? How'd
Sure.
you do that?
To get a
There
one-time
will
payment, absolutely. I agree with you on
it
that. To
will,
get a
they
one-time
will
payment,
figure it
sure.
out. They will
But to
figure it out.
use every single day, all day, for all their transactions, for all their savings, for all their this, to put your life savings, to put every dime you have into something that somebody helped you get a one-time payment with, I don't know. I really think that transitionary phase, but I do think during that transitionary phase, there'll be the old traditional banking system, a form of it, something that people are familiar with until they transfer away of it. Like with computers, when emails first came out, nobody used emails. It was, my parents' generation, the generation older than me, they never did until somebody showed them. But then still, they weren't paying their bills with it. They weren't writing their aunt with it. They weren't doing this. I just really think that there's a big transitionary phase that we're going to have to go through. That's going to last a lot longer than a lot of people.
I guess to get everyone using crypto for everything, I would agree with you. But
how long did it take to get everybody using a cell phone for most of their communication? I got my first cell phone when I was 18 years old. I'm 47 now. That's a generation. That's the kind of span of time I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it didn't take till now to get everybody using a cell phone.
Right. So when was it? The last, what?
I don't know.
5, 6,
I'd have
7,
to look
8
up
years?
cell phone adoption, but I would gather that it's less than 10 years. But
you think?
Yeah.
I don't. Less so. 28. There wasn't even, cell phones weren't even fast enough to be using banking apps at that point.
When did cell phones become widespread? Cell phones between popular in the 90s and early 2000s.
So I still think we're kind of back. Okay, so I think if we're going to make the cell phone analogy, I think this first group of our friends and family that are in this changeover of funds and monies to a crypto future. I think we're the ones carrying the old bag phones in the 1980s with the big giant bag cell phones. I think that's still where we are as a society. We are not at digital. We're on 1G. We're on extremely expensive to use to make these phone calls. I remember my stepbrother's father in the 80s. I was in middle school. Had this bag phone in his Cadillac. He was an executive at some large company. I mean, at the time, it was like $3,000 or $4,000. That was like my first car was $1,500, and it was a nice car. So to pay $3,000 years before that for this cell phone,
that's crazy.
I think that's where we are now. I think that's where we are. We have so much more to go to get to the Apple, to get to the App Store.
Well,
to get
then
to the
maybe we
bank.
have our gold and silver for a while in between. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. I don't think anybody really knows. But
while that transition of people using cell phones from the bag phone, where only the wealthy had it, and so and so has a cell phone. Wow, look at that. I think to get to the full on Apple, full computer, digital device in your hand, we still had regular mail. We still had credit cards with the chunk slidey thing. We still had telephones in our houses. So
I think there'll be multiple forms of currency for a while. Yeah.
Right. That transition to get to the stage where we are, where everyone has it and uses it for basically everything that they ever need. We're going to have those ways in between to get us to transition there. But I just think I think banks are still going to be around for a while. I think in one form or another, not like they are now, that's for sure. I think there will be different rules and regulations that they'll have to follow. But how would you, okay, so let's say it goes to gold and silver, right? How do you buy something online?
Well, you use
without a bank.
Yeah.
And without everybody knowing how to use electronic banking or sending cryptos via cell
Well,
phone.
so Visa is not actually through banks. It's a payment network that then banks
but you need your bank credit card to access it. That's kind of
sell. Not necessarily. There's a Litecoin card.
Sure. Backed by a Visa.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, but not a bank.
But the Visa is almost the same as a bank. They are making your transfers.
It's a network.
Well, I see what you're saying, but I view it not only as a network, but as okay. So okay, call it a bank, call it a Visa, call it a network. We're still going to have something to move that. But how do you move gold to California to buy a shirt that
I don't disagree with you on that. That's where Veritasium comes in,
Right, but it's a crypto, and it's something that you'll have to use a device for. So we will have these transitionary things.
I don't know why you and Sean want to fight with me lately.
I like fighting with you.
I'm still
It's fun.
I'm telling you that, I just think
But
it's
you're not turning
closer.
red yet. So
You're not embarrassing me, and I'm not super mad, but
super mad.
I think it's a lot closer than that. And when it will go quickly, is what I've been told from people that have, contacts on the inside and whatever.
Right.
So we'll see how that all goes. And I think people will choose it, so we'll see.
After all this bad press with FTX, and you're going to lose your cryptos, and Bitcoin's going through the crypto winter at this point, I don't know.
Bitcoin wasn't involved in it, FTX.
No. I'm just saying the crypto market in general right now, we're in a crypto winter. We are in a strong down cycle. We're in a strong bear market.
Not when people realize how much value Bitcoin has actually held its value compared to the US dollar.
Bitcoin lost 80% of its value in the matter of a year. It took the dollar.
It went from 60 grand to 20 grand.
Okay. That's a lot. So it lost multiple
eggs went from $2 to $12 or something.
But people still don't understand that the eggs didn't cost more money.
I don't care if they understand it or not. It is what it is. That is the facts. You don't get to say, well, just because they don't see it, it doesn't make it true. It's still
that's
true.
Not what I'm saying.
And I think they will. That is what they're going to see.
It's the dollar losing value. It takes more dollars to buy the eggs. The eggs aren't more valuable. It just takes more of your crappy dollars. But my point is, we watched in 2 years Bitcoin go from way up here to way down here, and being the pariah of the world now with all this FTX and everything. At this point, it took the dollar 100 years to lose 90% of its value. So compared to the dollar, compared to Bitcoin, what went down?
When have you seen the dollar gain?
Never.
Bitcoin is the best performing asset over S&P by 600% or something like that
until
in
it
the
goes
last
down
10
from
years.
$70 to $16,000. It's where we are now is what I'm talking about. People are going to look where we are now.
Okay, so I would love to. We'll have to find out where we are now in comparison
$16,000
to the S&P, because here's where Bank of America is right now. We may be there, but what I'm saying is the stock market's about to be in the toilet as well, and the dollar is going to be even worse.
I feel we're getting closer to that point, absolutely. But you and I have been saying the dollar is about to lose everything for how many years now? That's all I'm saying. I just like to play devil's advocate.
It is losing. You can't say it's going to, or it's
about to.
Well,
it's been on that last. The dollar has lost 95% of its value 10 years ago. So we're just milking out that last 3 or 4% at this point. So yes, it's going down, but there's only a few percent left of a dollar. Some people say there's only 1% of the purchasing power of a dollar from 100 years ago left at this point. But we're really dragging out that last % or 2 or 3 that it's been over these last few years.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure this little visit from Xi to speaking of which, I have my watch on too today. This is the Litecoin version, and I've got
That's
my
nice.
Bitcoin one on, since I'm the defender of Bitcoin today.
You're just a Bitcoin maxi, aren't you? I knew it.
Oh, that's
I
it.
knew it, you maxi.
But here's where Circle cancels plans to go public at 44.5 billion valuation, but they're canceling because of fears of bankruptcy. Here is an all red. Maybe this is the red wave they're talking about, the wiped out stock market. Tell me how great the dollar is. Oh, Jim Cramer doesn't see a recession. You can pretty much get
Whatever that guy says,
whatever he
you
says.
better be doing
Do
the
the
opposite.
opposite.
You
Yes.
better be doing the
This
opposite.
guy's an
of what
idiot.
This guy says.
Yeah. Then yeah. Also, this guy, do the opposite of what this moron says.
Absolutely. And mainstream in general, for whatever that is. I've been saying that for a long time. Whatever they tell you on the stupid box, just do the opposite. It's the opposite. Don't fall into that. That's my opinions. That's what I'm sticking to.
Absolutely. Well, so crazy. Yeah. So you guys make sure you go listen to Uncle Cliff and his videos today
On Telegram, Sci-Fi World.
Substack as well.
Substack. Cliff High on Substack.
Cliff High on Substack. And he's talking about the 5G warriors, and that's us. And we need to stand up and say enough. I know I've had enough, and I'll stand with you if you'll stand with me. Time to shine some sunlight on all this. So maybe time to resurrect America first. On the 11th. So big shout out to all of our servicemen and women on Pearl Harbor Day and their families that serve us. So
Absolutely. Without them, we would not be a country. We would not have the liberties that we have. We would not have the freedoms. Much as we complain about our freedoms and liberties, how they've been stepped on and squashed, we would have nothing, and we would have none of that unless it was for our men and women in uniform.
Oh, and tonight's a full moon. So no one plan on getting any sleep.
Is that why you're so cranky?
I'm not the cranky one. My gosh. Okay, here's the thing. Let us know in the comments below. Was Lisa the cranky one, or was it?
No, because you're not turning red, so you're not being cranky. I just
All
love to play the devil's advocate. I talk to people just as much as everyone else does, and try to talk to the newbies and try and get them involved in this. And then, I'm voicing. I feel their pain, and I want to make sure that their views are getting acknowledged and understood, so we can help.
You want to give me as much crap as they give you?
No, I give you much more.
That's so sweet. Of course you do. All right. I love you. All right. Thank you guys all for watching and commenting. Make sure to leave a comment below the video afterwards, and give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks to the new subscribers. If Big
over 5,000. Lisa is over 5,000 now for the first time. Big deal.
Appreciate it. Yeah, we're
and growing. 5,100 at this point.
I had over 13,000 at one time. That was my very first channel, but
but this is channel 3 or 4.
We're back on. I think this is my third one.
3.
So. Yeah, I think this is 3.
And heavily shadow banned,
and my favorite
demonetized all the time, and everyone watching this and keeping your the thumb on the Lisa channel all the time. Well done.
Yeah, but I appreciate all the people watching, people loyal, and people that show up on our lives. So you guys mean a lot to us. Tomorrow is Thursday, so I'll be on World Blockchain Roundtable in the morning, and they're going to be talking about blockchain technology structures, and they want everybody to ask a bunch of questions. So you can go over to Den.social and go to the World Blockchain Roundtable layer, and they have a post right on the top. If you have questions about blockchain structure, these guys are brilliant, and they will be able to answer anything you need to know about it. I'll just be there smiling and nodding and asking lots of questions myself. Nice. But I'm there for the current events mostly. So, and to learn a lot. So we can all learn a lot. All right. Take care, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow with Johnny as well.
See ya.
Bye.